Hello. What's going on?
Hi. How are
Nice
you?
shirt.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? I'm tired. Very, very tired today. Bum, bum, bum. Work is busy, preparing for vacation and stuff. It's a lot going on. Give it a couple more minutes for people to jump on.
I literally just finished.
Did you?
It was like 7
You
o'clock.
made it. Yeah. Have you started that S.A. Cosby book yet?
No, because I don't have it yet. I'm still like 10 weeks out.
I got it pretty quickly considering that it just came out. I don't even know when I put the bid in, like the hold for Libby, but oh my God, so good.
Is it? Because I saw a post that everybody was like, oh my gosh, all the triggers. And I was like,
It's a lot going on. I find it to be because the only other one that I've read is Razor Blade Tears, which I know you love. I find this one a little more suspenseful. Like that one was suspenseful to me, but this is like twists and turns at every like
oh wow.
yeah, a murder mystery that they're trying to figure out without giving too much away. But it's when I say it's got me glued, like I will wake up at 4 a.m. and like go to the restroom and then just be like, you know what? I'm just about to read. So I'll just sit there for like 30 to 40 minutes and read till it makes me fall back asleep. But yeah, it's
well,
good.
it looks like they got they acquired one new copy. So yeah, I'm still 10 weeks out. I'm number 5 in line.
S.A. Cosby, what is it?
All the Sinners Bleed.
Yeah, All the Sinners Bleed.
It's on script.
The audiobook is?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's good to know. I didn't even check there. I just went straight to Libby. That's how I got it. But it's really good.
I think that was the reason I didn't buy the audio, because it's on script.
It was already there, yeah. I got both from Libby, the audiobook and the
ebook.
The ebook, yeah. But it's really, really good. It was one of those where I was like, I got it. Let me just go ahead and read it. And I'm like, I'm so glad that I did. Because I typically, like in the summers, just like to read romances and stuff like that. But
not only in the summer.
Yeah, that's what I tend to like stick to. But I was like, let me go ahead and try. But you know, I love watching like true crime stuff anyways. Like that's what I at home upstairs, like in my room, I've been watching on Netflix Cold Case Files. There's like 27 episodes, and I'll just like in between reading, I'll sit there and just watch all of these murders. And I love like Snaps, true crime podcasts. So like I don't know why I don't read more books like this, but yeah, S.A. Cosby.
Like my cousin, I sent her this video today of me at the dog park, and it was like the Disney of dog parks. Like it was huge, it was wood. I mean, everything. She's like, "Oh my gosh, you're a young Black single female. What are you doing in that dog park?" It was like 11:30 a.m. Ma'am,
hilarious.
I watch all these crime movies, and Jason's gonna be out there. I'm like, girl.
No. I will say I'm very aware of my surroundings. Like when I get in the car, I immediately like lock the door, even if I'm just gonna sit there, get myself together before I pull off, like grocery store, whatever. I look around when I'm walking back to my car just because I've heard of like just human traffickers putting shit on your car and just like abducting women as they're trying to get. So I'm very aware of my surroundings when it comes to things like that. Thank God, because I watch a lot of
my city is number 2 in the state now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Craziness. But yeah, I got a little off subject, but we are here to talk about Confessions in B Flat by Donna Hill. I'm going to go ahead and take a poll of general thoughts before I speak on how I felt about the book. Don't all jump at once.
It started off slow, but I ended up liking it.
Anybody else?
I enjoyed it. I like the historical aspects of it more. And Malcolm X on opposite sides of the coin, and then the guy and the girl falling in love on the opposite sides of the coin. I like that. I like the story.
I enjoyed it as well. Parts of it, I was like, can you hurry and get through this story that you're telling? Like when they were at the dinner table, to me, it was so unnecessary, but just overall, I really enjoyed the book. Same reason that Bernadette gave, the historical aspect of it.
Anybody else?
I did enjoy it also. One thing that kind of jumped out at me was like towards the end of chapter 10, when they were having like the police went by, and when the police sirens went by, everybody was like stopping and was scared. And I was like, you know what, these days we hear police sirens all the time, and it's just like we're kind of immune to them. And so that kind of took me back to like I never knew what that felt like during that time period. So, but I did like the love story.
So for me, it felt kind of flat for me. I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it didn't blow my mind. I think I had a real high expectations coming into this though, knowing that it's going to be adapted into some kind of Netflix, Hulu series, whatever movie. I just felt like, you know, if it was worthy of that it was going to be something that just blew my mind. So I think my expectations coming into it were real high. And again, I guess for me, like being a hopeless romantic and loving all things romance novels, it's my favorite genre to read. I wanted more of the two characters, I guess, in their romance. You know, there were sweet scenes and things like that, but I don't know. I don't really know what I expected. I remember reading the description before I even selected it as a book club selection, but I did not read it again before diving in. So I just kind of dove in kind of blindly, I guess you can say, because it'd been a while since I had read the description. So it fell kind of flat for me. I don't know.
I think this may be one of those times when it may be better on screen than as a novel, because the people will kind of bring it to life. I mean, I liked it, but I think it was just making me feel really old, because I was like, certainly some of these, I was like, Frankie Crocker was on a DJ in 1963. And I was like, I gotta fact check this. I was like, oh dear God, I really am old. So like I'm remembering Frankie Crocker. Yeah, it was just, I had to fact the Newport cigarettes. I was like, Newports are back then? Yes, it was 1957. Yep. I'm like, I am old. That's just, maybe that's why I didn't like the book as much as I thought I was going to like it. It was fine. I just didn't love it. And I also think I was comparing it to I Am Aya, which I had just read and just loved. So I went in with too high expectations. But it was
Is that one a newer release of hers?
Yeah, it just came out a couple of months ago, I believe.
That's what I thought. I don't. The crazy part is like, I like historical romance books. This was different for me. I can't like grasp why it didn't like do anything for me, but it just was like missing something. I don't know. I can't call it, but it was missing something.
I'm still reading, but I keep wanting the book to get to the point.
Yeah, and I think that was it for me. I'm like,
parts of it that I'm enjoying. It's not bad, but I had a really good month last month, so I was expecting that this was going to be really good, and it's okay. It's okay. But I think it does make me feel old, because we're the same age, so I loved it. I actually loved the fact that I think I have recognized every song except one.
Yep.
Jess, what were you gonna say?
Oh, what? No, I was saying the same, that it just kind of, maybe it would be better in the show. I was a fact checker, like she posted, there was a link to a speech by Adam Clayton Powell that he didn't give till 1967. I'm like, why are you putting this 1967 speech and they're in 1963? Like little things like that just made me go, and I get it. If there was an opening that said, historical context and these conversations, whatever. But I do think that they were so extreme, and like for her to have, not that she couldn't have been that extreme, but she had these country parents, mama who was religious. Like it just seemed a little. She was so radical, but not. I mean, it was like she didn't quite develop it. Like, she didn't give me the turning point for her becoming so radical. Not enough for me, at least. And even him having a daddy who was not religious, that just didn't fall right with me either. I'm like, if he is following Dr. King, he's from the South, his daddy should have been. It was just little things like that just made me go, like I couldn't quite suspend the disbelief that I needed to.
And that brings me to a point, because what is it? Jasmine's Guillory's The Royal Holiday, right? Is based on one of the prior characters' mothers. And I absolutely struggled with that book, because when I think about this time period and the people, like I think of like grandparents and parents. So to me, that's just not like, in my mind, I just don't see like romance. I don't know why. But that was the same thing with Jasmine Guillory, that book, The Royal Holiday. Like, it being her mom made me think of it as being my mom, and it just, the romantic like parts of it, I just was like, it was just different for me. So I don't know if it's the time period, but again, like I can read an 1800 historical romance and be okay with it. Like I don't know. It's just something about this that just, I don't know. I don't know how else to describe it.
So we talked this week about rating books. I think Talisha posted in the group, like when you rate, I would give this one a 3.
Mm-hmm.
I would be like,
that's what I gave it.
That's what I gave it too.
It was a read for me. I enjoyed it. Like someone would get it. I wouldn't take it off of a list if people said, send me the last 100 books you read. But if someone said, give me something to read, I probably wouldn't choose this. List.
Absolutely. Yeah, your rating system was spot on with how I rate books. I give a lot of 4s. 5s absolutely have to blow me out of the water, or just something I really like enjoyed from beginning to end. I will say that I had just come off reading The Perfect Find and Reminders of Him before I read this. So those 2 books were 5 and 4 stars for me, and I don't know, this just didn't like hit like those did.
Yeah, I'm not mad I read it, but I'm not wowed either.
Yeah.
And see, for me, I was thinking like a 3, but then like me being from New York, it really was like pushing a lot of things for me, the nostalgia. And I was like, oh, if I could just go back to that time. Because I was telling my family, I was like, the MTA was 15 cents. Not when I was a little girl, it was $1.25. So like, I don't know, the brownstones, it really made me feel like home, just in a different time period. So I probably would like give it a 4 just for that.
Yeah.
And that's perfectly okay, because it's about how it makes you feel. That's
you
how,
feel right.
That's how I read books.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in seeing a film adaptation. I think, like Keela said, I think the film will probably be much better than this. And also, I don't know if I know Keela listened to the audio companion. That could have been another reason why I didn't like it either. The accents and the mimicking of like MLK and Malcolm X. I was just
bad.
like,
it was so.
But when you did the guys from New York, I was like, I kept listening for, okay, did these guys grow up in the South and move to New York? And one of them said, oh, I grew up around the corner. I was like, how people in New York are?
New York. Yeah, I think there's just a lot of factors for me that just,
And there was some editing problems too, because sometimes it was like, did someone go in and reread a line because the levels would be off?
Yeah.
And it would sound like a totally different woman at times. I was like, oh, they let somebody like me record this because it's a mess. Well, I mean, it's free because I listened to it on Hoopla. So I wasn't complaining because it was free, but still.
Probably better than Jess's Alexa. Yeah, I was like, it's probably better than Jess's Alexa.
I thought about Alexa read it, and I was like, oh, no.
But you know what? When Alexa reads it, that's when you figure out when authors use a lot of stuff. This woman uses hum a lot. HMMM, because Alexa says hummer, hummer, hummer. And she uses humps a lot. And Alexa says, Humphrey. And I'm like, what is she saying? Alexa is awful.
Even on Audible, they left out the part where they were saying that there was like another child on the way. I was like, I'm missing something here. I had to go find my book and read it, and I was like,
oh no.
Yeah, because it said it just kind of jumped ahead. It's like, so what are we saying? And then they were like, they were happy, and I said, okay, wait a minute, I missed something totally different. And I went to find the book, and I was like, oh, they're having another child, a little boy.
I heard the hinting to it. I think it was in the epilogue or whatever.
Yeah, it was in the epilogue.
Yeah, I was like, okay, they're having another baby, but it didn't give like details.
I always read the end of the book so I can get my credit on Kindle. So that's why I didn't listen to the end of it. I read the epilogue.
Yeah, that was one of those. I was just, is it over yet? Is it almost over? And I got to read it. So no DNFing here. But I don't think it wasn't that bad for me to want a DNF. It just, again, like I said, it was just kind of one of those middle of the road books. I didn't hate it, but I absolutely didn't love it either. But I'm glad that, there's some of you that did enjoy it.
I like the concept. Like, I would like to know how it would have been for a couple back then if you had one that was following Malcolm X and if you had one that was following Martin Luther King Jr. So I like the concept of it. And I really did like Anita. My favorite line was when she was at his parents' house for Thanksgiving and she was talking to the sister and she was like, you have your own apartment? Like, they would never. And you think about that time frame, and she was like, she didn't tell her, but she was just saying, that's to handicap a woman. Like, you go from being somebody's daughter to having to be somebody's wife. When do you get your own independent time? And I was just like, I'm so glad I was born when I was, because there's no way I probably would have made it back then. But I like that little aspect of her character.
Mm-hmm.
But see, that part of her character made me question just a little bit because of all the things I've read or seen about Malcolm X. I was like, was they really just letting a woman go around leading these marches and stuff? And she showed up unwed and pregnant, and he's like wishing her well. I'm like, would that really have happened with Malcolm X and the Nation of Islam? I was like, come on.
But there were a lot of women leaders in the Black Panther Party, or at least in the Black Panther Party.
That's true.
Yeah, the Black Panther Party, yes, but I might need to go do some more research because the women always seem to kind of just take a second seat to the men.
She took some liberties with it.
So, she was a firecracker now.
To it, I said, okay, let me just roll with what she's saying, because
I rolled with it until the end.
Liberties, I think.
Yeah, to the end, and then I was like questioning a few things. I also questioned, I'm like, okay, so it's 1963, 64. Were they sitting on the front or the back of the airplane? Because I was like, so Black people just getting on airplanes flying all around to the south. I was like, well, where are they sitting? The back of the bus. Oh, they're in the back of the airplane. I was just curious. And where her parents get what was her daddy's job? Because you come from no education in, was it Mississippi or wherever, and then you got this big brownstone that Jacob was just like, oh my gosh, I've never seen anything like this. So how did you make your money to take care of this woman you promised to take care of? That was another question I had. I just had questions.
Questions, yeah, a lot of stuff.
Occupation. Yeah.
Now, I will say, growing up in New York, and we see like those brownstones that have been passed down from families, in the family. I always thought about like, dang, how did you guys afford? I mean, of course, they're crazy expensive now, but I just think about like, you were able to get these huge, and these brownstones they're huge. And I always wondered, like, how did we get these back in the day? I don't know. So that is interesting about like what kind of jobs they would have had to be able to afford it.
Yeah. Interested to know, like, I need to look that up, the cost of living back there, like what it was compared to today's prices, like how much an apartment. Because he was, go ahead, Jess.
I was just gonna say, coming from, and I'm sorry, I was taking pool stuff in. It's about to rain, but coming from where they came from, sitting by the creek every day, yeah, that was kind of a stretch too. Like, what were they doing? You know, they came from rural Mississippi to Brownstone. I don't know.
Well, they did say back in the day they would come to New York for better living.
They did, but they didn't always have, like, unless they were coming as doctors or dentists or something. Like, if they would come from the cotton fields, she said she was 16 when she got married. She probably would have been coming, working as a domestic or working at a hotel, serving in some kind of way. Like, it's just that was a hole for me. It was like, well, how did they end up in this lavish big house?
But the men had the jobs. A lot of times the women were domestic workers and the men worked wherever else if they were lucky. I think
yeah.
But
he wasn't
domestic, but her husband was at General Motors, Ford, or something or the other.
That where he was? Okay, well, maybe
that was in Detroit.
Oh yeah. No, right, yeah. Well, yeah, because this guy was sitting by the creek at 19. He wasn't in school anywhere when she met this man.
And then my other question, did she have an alternate job when she was pregnant? Because she wasn't working at B Flat. So like, did she, and she kind of stayed hidden, it seemed like, from the public because no one knew that she was pregnant until she just kind of popped up.
I think she just stayed at home.
Yeah, so again, how are you making money to maintain your living?
Did she move in with her parents?
Yeah, she moved in with her parents.
Okay. And she was probably living off of them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
How she spread her quilts out on her bed to make it more grown up from her childhood bed or something of that nature. I wanted to see a little bit more, being that the book is called Confessions of B Flat. I was hoping to see more of the poetry or whatever at B Flat. I would have liked to see more of that or listen to more of that.
Yeah, give me some more Love Jones. Maybe I was comparing it to that too. Some Darius on stage, like trying to see the cost of living.
I thought there would be more poetry, but I was glad there wasn't. I was glad there wasn't. I'm not huge on poetry. I'll read it here and there, but
me too. But did it be more poetry? That means Donna Hill would have had to been a poet.
Yeah, true.
Has anybody?
I was glad there wasn't, though.
Yeah. Has anybody read any other Donna Hill books? I know Keela had just said she read one. We also read one that was kind of I can't even remember the other author that we did as a Christmas read. One December. It was like a split novel. And it's escaping me right now, but have y'all read any of her other works?
No, I read her back in the day, like in the 1990s and early 2000s, but I don't remember which books. But yeah, because I was like, oh, she's back. Because I remember when Confessions, when this came out, I was like, oh, she's written another book. It had been a while since I read her.
Now, y'all know I didn't start my reading journey until like 5-6 or so years ago. Was she a hot like author in the 90s?
No.
You
have to really be
it was
Black
just
fiction.
Yeah, and I was, especially romance type stuff. So
yeah, I just checked my Goodreads. I have 3 books by her I read, and I'm sure I read them in the very early 2000s.
Okay.
So I don't remember those books either. And I don't remember today's book, but I did read it.
It seems like her books are like she has one that's titled Murder in the Isles. Like it just like her books are, she writes some of everything.
I noticed that some of the authors that were like super big, or not super big, but are Black authors that we were buying into that weren't necessarily like Eric Jerome Dickey or whatever, they're trying to reinvent themselves with more like mystery and thrillers. It's not landing well though, but I think she might be one of the ones that's tried to reinvent herself.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, no, I haven't read anything else other than the Christmas one.
Yeah. I don't know. This really
one.
didn't make me want to read anything else.
I like the
I'm trying
book.
not to be. I mean, it was just okay. It was like
I think the whole time I was reading it, I remember thinking, I just want to see this on the big screen.
Yeah,
and I like a book that makes me feel that way, but I don't think they'll do it well. But you know what I do remember when I read it, and I was like, I love this. I think Anna had given it like a really, really bad review. And I'm like, well, damn, what book did she read? And I've noticed on Bookstagram, that's one of those books that's very polarizing. People really enjoy it like I did, or they're like, this was crap. I see a lot of people say they didn't like it.
I had to go.
That just came out she just had a new one come out in May.
Yeah, Keela said that one was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm actively reading that one. It's pretty good.
What is it?
I Am Aya?
Yeah.
It came out May 23rd.
I did go check the Goodreads reviews after I finished reading it because I was like, is my rating like off or did other people feel like this? And I saw Anna's as well.
Was it bad?
Hers was, I think she gave a 3-star as well. I'm about to go back to it, but I think she gave a 3-star. A lot of them were kind of, like you said, it was hit or miss for some people. And actually on Goodreads, it's 4.5, it's 4.25 stars. So a lot of people rated it.
You remember Lulu used to be really active in the group?
Oh yeah, I see her on there, 2 stars.
Yeah, it might be her because, like I told you, I always go check to see what my mutuals rated it, just to get a feel. And like you said, sometimes I'm like, well, am I tripping? Like how I hated Whiskey and Ribbons. I always go read other people's reviews. Like, am I just being difficult?
I love that book,
and I did too. I'm about to
Dalton has
you.
been my book boyfriend ever since. I love
so
Dalton.
mad at y'all for going so. I hated that book. I keep thinking that I should reread it. From maybe I just need to be in a different place. But I struggle with what I think are taboo love stories. Like
yes, and that's kind of how they fell in love. I can see how you didn't like that part of it. Yeah,
Hoover book had me ready to fight. Like, girl, what are you doing with him? The one we just read? I
Reminders
really
of him.
Struggle with. So the book I'm reading now, y'all know my white on white crime. Right before I got off work, I stopped the book and I find out the main woman is dating a set of twins and they know about each other. And the one she's engaged to is like, well, when are you going to leave him alone to only be with me? And I'm like, what? But then I stopped the book, so I'll tell y'all. But I don't do well with taboo love like that.
And that makes sense to me. You know, you're gonna feel differently about it. Whereas I'm like, oh, look at this unfortunate situation and how it brought these two people together, and now they're gonna live happily ever after.
He would have wanted her to be happy, and
they bonded on their loss. And who better to take care of her than his brother?
Yes. But you know, for me, I remember saying this to you because it was when we used to actively talk about the books during the reading. I remember writing that for me, it just seemed slow and gray. Like I remember it just seemed really somber and like I was just stuck in a snowstorm and there was no sun. Like it just really was like a mood killer for me.
See, and I
couldn't see the love in it.
I remember feeling so good, like loving that book when I read it. So now I'd be interested to like go back and read it and see how I feel about it now, years later. Because like I was surprised. The Perfect Find, the first time I read it, and I feel like my review, I raved on it, but I only gave it 4 stars. But the second time I read it, I gave it a 5-star. Like I loved it that much. Like it was like I was reading it again for the first time because it had been a while. So maybe I'll feel differently about that book. But I'm gonna move on to a newer Lisa Cross Smith before I.
What book did you just talk about?
Whiskey and Ribbons.
Yeah, it's our first book.
Yeah, it's like, and I think she has a couple of like underground ones that she published before that, but like Whiskey and Ribbons was like her first like Bookstagram, like her first push into the reading world that I guess for me became really big. And then she's released like 3 or 4, I think. Goodbye Earl just came out Monday, which is next on my list. I still need to read the other one, the Roses one.
Yeah, I haven't read the Roses one.
That's the only one I haven't read. That and Goodbye Earl.
I loved This Close to Okay. Is that what it was called?
Yes.
I loved it. And I see so many people on Bookstagram don't like it. Now, I definitely thought it was sad, but I thought her writing was excellent.
It is.
I thought she could do a master class on writing with that. And then I get so sad when people say they don't like it. And I'm like, but she was writing her butt off. What do you mean? Right. And then I think about y'all wanting to hang me because I didn't like that Whiskey and Ribbons. I was like, well, I guess it's the same old thing.
I gave her 4 stars for that one. So I liked it too.
I'll end up buying it for my mom for Christmas. Like, read this.
Yeah, I'm excited to read Goodbye Earl. Keela, you're reading that one right now?
I've only gotten through like the first page. I had to go back and finish this one, so I'll go back to it. Either that or the First Ladies. I got too many on my plate.
I know that First Ladies has got to be. I've got a lot too, but yeah.
I saw a bad review for it from somebody that I trust on Bookstagram, and I can't remember who it was, but they said it fell really flat for them.
For Goodbye Earl?
Yeah, Goodbye Earl. It's somebody who I normally like the same books. I forget.
These people speed reading, boy.
I'm
that book just came out Monday.
Yeah, because that's what I was like. Did you read it already, or did you have an arc? They didn't like thank anybody, but I remember going, "Oh man," because it's someone who I would normally like their review.
It's your girl Lulu.
I can't remember who it was.
It's your girl Lulu again. 3 stars she gave it, and she's the first word is meh. She said meh.
Yeah, she's a little stingy with her stars, though. I do know that.
She said I was really expecting a dark comedy, but it wasn't that. The story was more about lifelong friendships than revenge, but it kind of says that on the back description. It talks about these characters and their friendship. I don't know. I mean, it does use the word revenge like in it, and I guess for me,
that's printed on the cover too.
I listen to the Chicks, right? So I'm fond of the song Goodbye Earl. So in my head, I'm expecting them to be like, I don't know, doing what the Dixie Chicks did.
What song is that? Oh,
you've never heard the Chicks Goodbye Earl? Oh my God. If the Dixie Chicks is who I'm talking about, but you know,
Bobby Brown. Where would I hear that?
There's the Dixie Chicks who are now the
Bobby
Chicks have
Brown.
a song. They have a song called Goodbye Earl, and that's what it is. It's about like these two friends. He's abusing one of them, and they end up like killing Earl, hiding his body, and like, yeah. So that's kind of in my head what I'm expecting, because I'm pretty sure this is a play, since it's a revenge novel, that it's a play on that song.
Oh wow.
It's a good song.
I guess I'll look it up, but it ain't no Bobby Brown.
No, it's the Chicks. Their new name.
They changed their name?
Lord, they took
because you know when like everybody was doing the black squares and things like that.
Antebellum.
Yeah, Lady Antebellum.
To what is it?
I don't even know what they are now.
But
the Dixie Chicks are now the Chicks. So
okay.
Let me find what Lady Antebellum is, because
I remember that, but I can't remember what they changed it
Lady
to.
A. That's what they are, Lady A.
That's what I thought it was.
That don't even sound right.
And that black lady sued them for using the name Lady A.
Oh Lord, they can't win. They can't win.
Yeah, there was a lady who had been using that name. Like, she'd legitimately been using that name for years. I can't remember what that was.
Yeah. Like, does she have a copyright to it? I mean,
I can't. Oh, I wish I could remember.
That's a good question, because I'm like, can you really sue them if you don't have it copyrighted? That's interesting.
Did y'all see Jess's comment? She said Cracker Barrel didn't change their name.
No. Jess is a mess, boy. But yeah, that was like at the beginning of the pandemic when everybody was all trying to do right with the black squares and all that kind of stuff. Everybody was, George Floyd and trying to be better. So they changed their name to the Chicks now. Jessica's back on camera. What you about to say?
She's in a lift. Please
don't. She's just looking at Are you Ubering? Right. I hope you're Ubering while you on camera.
She's in lift.
I'm in the lift.
Oh, okay. I was like, I know you're not driving right now. Oh, she did. Hilarious.
Got somewhere to go.
Right. She stays on the go.
Like the old people say, ripping and running.
All the time. Like, thanks for gracing us with your presence. Just happy to have your time. Any other final thoughts before we move on to our usual talk about books and other stuff? Grow under my feet. Okay. So, one thing I guess I want to talk about more because we had our watch party. What was it? Last week, the week before? I liked the movie. I'm talking about The Perfect Find. We had our watch party. I liked it again.
Ripping it apart.
The book the book to me, of course, always going to be better. There was a lot of key parts that I felt like they left out, but for me, it was fine. It was cute for what it was. But yeah, so many people are like ripping this movie to shreds. And I don't know if it's like people in general just hate Gabrielle Union and anything that she does, they're going to hate her. Like they're used to her playing this mean girl character and just I don't know, they just do not like her. So I feel like anything she's in, they're just gonna rip it to shreds. But
I could not keep my eyes off the part in that week.
So
who said you couldn't keep your eyes off the weed? Who said that?
That
Nyla?
part in that wig. I was like, y'all not gonna fix that? Like spray it or something? I don't know what you're supposed to do, but it just was giving real thin right there.
Somebody said she had a Tyler Perry wig.
I went to high school with her primary hairstylist. So I was looking, I need to go and look at the credits to see if the girl that I know did her hair for the movie. I know she doesn't do her hair for all of her productions, but I was definitely wondering, like, did one Kia do that girl hair, making it look like this? And that wig, that curly wig at the end that I hated. Oh, I hated
the wigs kept getting worse.
I need to see if my girl did her hair or not. I got questions.
Jess, I saw that comment too where someone posted that she ain't bringing her half of the rent in with this one. I was like, I am so dead. Oh my gosh.
But honestly, her acting is the same in everything. Like she doesn't. I like Gabrielle. I don't have an issue with Gabrielle at all. But it was just the same character that we've already seen her play before.
Yeah.
Yeah, her acting never changes. And when she thinks she's really acting, she crinkles her nose. Like, you know, when she crinkles her nose, she feels like she just gave you
and she lifts that
emotion.
Eyebrow.
Yeah. She'll lift the eyebrow when she's sassy, when she feel like she got you told, or when she's emotional, she crinkles her nose. But she's really the same person every movie. But I do like her.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, I don't like memoirs, but I love both of her books.
Yeah, I enjoy both of them too.
I like Gabrielle, and in my head, I kind of think we're friends. And y'all,
because she tells all her business.
I just finished watching Being Mary Jane for the third time all the way through, and I'm probably going to do it again in another year or two. The movie was cute. I thought it was really cute. I tend to like stuff that she's in anyway, but I did catch myself thinking Being Mary Jane throughout this movie because it was that character.
Yeah.
She does do a lot of the same acting and everything except Bad Boys.
Yeah. I mean, it's like she plays that mean girl.
Mary Jane.
I really hate it.
I kept thinking, oh, this is Mary Jane. And I think I said that in the chat.
You did. Yep.
That was Mary Jane.
I didn't watch the movie.
I hated the choices that they made.
Mm-hmm.
Like taking out, it was like so many like pivotal points in the book, like of things that they could have changed or like made different. They took out such a like all the pivotal moments that it was like almost a different story, like a play on the story, like adjacent. Like here's the story, and here's a story that's kind of like that one, but not at all. I was like,
that's
what?
How I felt. Remember we were talking, it was a while ago, we were all watching, what was it called, Little Fires Everywhere?
Yeah.
And after like the first episode, it was a whole new story. And I'm like, this is not the book I read. It was like not even its cousin at that point. And so I couldn't watch because I was so frustrated that it wasn't anything like the book. And I haven't read The Perfect Find since we read it as a group. So I could probably watch the movie and be okay because I actually don't remember much of the book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little Fires Everywhere did end up being a really, really good series.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it wasn't near the book, that was some good TV.
It was.
Kept hearing that, and I got so frustrated. And I also felt like they kind of made Kerry Washington's character seem a little skanky at times, or not like the best mom. And I'm like, why y'all get the Black lady to act this out and then y'all misrepresent her? So I just got mad, and I don't watch TV. Like if you lose me in one episode, I'm like, I could go read a book. And so I watched one, I got mad, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go read a book, and I never went back.
There's a Kerry Washington's daughter in Little Fires Everywhere. She's in another show called Cruel Summer. And I kept looking at her. I'm like, where do I know this girl from? And I couldn't remember. Just Little Fires Everywhere.
That
It's
show
so beautiful.
crazy.
And I saw an ad for it, and I was like, I know this little girl. I had to go to her IMDb or whatever, scroll through, like, what would I have seen her on? And I was like, oh, that one episode I watched. But I don't think I've seen her on anything else.
I'm trying to look right now. Yeah, I don't see Cruel Summer, Little Fires. Most of her other stuff is like stuff we haven't really seen. So if you saw Little Fires Everywhere, then that's probably where you know her from. But yeah, Cruel Summer is now on Hulu. Isn't her big thing?
I don't have any streaming platforms.
I have them all, unfortunately.
Yeah, I have enough for you. You good.
When the Shy comes back in a couple of weeks, I'll turn back on my add-on. Well, I do have Amazon Prime, of course.
Do you
have Prime Video?
Do you have Netflix, Erica?
No, I stopped paying it. They kept emailing me, and they finally said, "All right, girl, we guess you're leaving now," and they left me alone.
I was gonna say Verizon has a bundle now, and I switched over because I had everything separately. But you can get it's Netflix, The Shy, or no, sorry, Showtime, and maybe Paramount Plus for like $25, which Netflix alone is $20 if you have the package that I have. But I was like, for $5 more, I think I was paying $11.99 for Paramount and Showtime or whatever, so I could get The Shy. But yeah, it's if you have that bundle, you can get it through Verizon and just switch over.
That's a good deal. I turned on Showtime through Prime just to watch The Shy, then I cut it off. I turned on Paramount Plus to watch Real World when they were doing those reunions. And then I used to turn on HBO Max to watch Insecure. And now everybody's like, I know you're excited because it's on Netflix. Because I know I'm obsessed with Insecure. That's my security blanket. I think I'm going to go ahead and get my Netflix back just so I can tell y'all how fine Daniel is again. Like, I got to watch it again.
Yes, we love Daniel. We love Daniel.
Team Daniel.
Erica, you were one of the few people that watched those Real World reunion shows,
and I was obsessed.
They're gone. They're no longer on Paramount Plus. Like I looked for them because I was telling my mom, because my mom used to watch The Real World and Road Rules back in the day, like with the same time I did, and so I was telling her, I'm like, oh, you got to go on Paramount, like they've got all X, Y, and Z on there, and I said they did the New Orleans one. You remember Julie and all that, and I went, gone, all of them gone.
I wonder why.
I don't know. I'm like,
and they took off the original seasons too.
I think the originals are still there.
That's so weird.
Yeah, but it's gone.
Maybe because I didn't pay my subscription. They was like, you're the only one watching it. We'll take it off.
Right.
But if the few times that I will break down and watch TV, it's going to be a show like that, which is how I got stuck on College Hill Celebrity Edition recently. Like things like that, I will stop and watch.
Yeah.
Yep. I did the free trial and then the 2 seasons.
I might need to do the free trial because I'm like, I already have everything under the sun. I can't add another. I have Max, Netflix, Peacock now you have to pay for.
I did not know that until I went the other day to watch. I was like, why are they asking me to subscribe?
Yeah, Xfinity said, y'all gotta start paying.
I was
so I got my little $2.99.
$4.99.
No, they want $2.99. The
if you have
Xfinity,
Look it up on the web. You can get it for $2.99 if you're. I think you have like a month left to like kind of lock in at that price if you're an Xfinity user that lost it. So you can get it for $2.99 for 12 months.
I just got 2 years of Peacock Premium because of my internet gig speed. So maybe look into that. I mean, I don't know which one y'all have. I think I have like the fastest one that they have because of all the devices and computer and all that stuff. But yeah, on June 7th, I got a email about it.
They're like, yeah, we're cutting this out. You got to go pay, $4.99. I'm like, oh my God, seriously. I'm paying for everything.
It was free before.
Yeah, it was included. If you had Xfinity cable, it was included in that. And that's probably been a year, maybe 2. I don't even know how long it's been, but now they're ending that contract. I guess Peacock used Xfinity to kind of get their name out there, hook people on some shows, and now they're like, okay, we don't need you anymore. Now y'all can pay for this.
Because I never watched Bel Air when it came out, and I just started like 2 weeks ago, and I was watching at my friend's house, and I was like, I'll just watch it at home. I went to go pull it up, and it was like, you gotta pay. I was like, wait.
Yeah, that and like all of the Bravo shows, like for instance, we've been into this drama with Vanderpump Rules. Y'all have heard us talk about it in the group. Well, they put the uncensored versions of like the reunion and the show on Peacock the next day. So it's even more fun to like watch them cursing each other out without any, bleeping and stuff. So I use Peacock to watch a lot of that on there. But yeah, I'm like, I can't afford. I think I've got Stars, Paramount, Disney Plus, Xfinity, of course. I've got Prime, Max. And that's it. I won't do BET Plus because I'm like, I can't put another. I want it, but I'm like, I can't put another thing. There's another one that has like, what's like Natalie Nunn's show? There's a Zeus. There's another network that I want just to watch that.
The ratchet stuff.
Yeah,
I'm not paying for anything else because I'm about to spend all this money on the NFL Sunday ticket. So
yeah, I was like, I can't. I'm already paying, a lot for cable and internet, and then I have probably another 60 or so in just streaming stuff.
And I'm mad
that's why I cut it off.
Oh, and Hulu. Forgot about that.
I only pay for cable for HGTV. I don't watch anything else.
I like to watch TV live as it's happening. So for me, like I watch a lot of live games, sports, Bravo, like that's where I live. VH1, MTV. So yeah, and I like the function of being able to record shows too with cable. And like even if I come home 15 minutes late and Real Housewives of New Jersey or whatever's already started, I can watch the recording from the beginning and then just be, I don't have to wait until the next day when it comes on for everybody else. I can watch it then.
The one thing I do watch is Real Housewives of Atlanta, but I'll wait till about 8:45 to turn it on so I can skip commercials.
Yeah, like that's smart. So
I don't watch commercials, but I don't really, outside of that, I don't watch TV, but I turn on the Food Network to fall asleep. So I fall asleep with Guy Fieri most nights or Bobby Flay, and then I get irrationally upset because Bobby Flay won, and I'm like, let me take my ass to sleep. But other than that, I don't turn on my TV. Like I go days without ever turning on my TV.
There was something in the news today where Nene said she would consider coming back for her fans.
Oh, really?
If y'all please bring Nene back because her and Marlo can go toe to toe.
If they bring her back, I will start watching again.
Yeah, I'm like her and Marlo. I mean, there's people that go toe to toe with Marlo. For me, Candy does at times, but like, I feel like bye Jess. I feel like she could really go toe to toe and give Marlo like her 2 cents.
Andy said
that I would love for her to come back and get rid of them bottom rung bitches, as Kenya said, because some of them got to go.
Yeah.
Kenya go. Can Kenya go first, and Kim not come back? Oh,
right. I see that episode where she's gonna make an appearance.
Kim need money. Kim gonna be back. She done lost the house. She's selling wigs. She gonna be back. But you might as well.
I don't want this new person, Courtney, that they keep trying to make a thing.
Me either.
I don't want her on there. I don't want Drew. And Sonya, this is not good for her brand, and she doesn't fit in well. She's like the new Tanya, and it drives me crazy.
I love Tanya and I love Sonya. And I loved Sonya before she went on the show, but I was like, why are you on here?
Yeah, I don't think it's good for her brand. And then her family looks so bad on the show. I'm like, oh girl, get off of this show.
Right.
Does anybody know if Kerry Washington's show with Delroy Lindo is renewed for another season? I can't remember the name. He was incarcerated and he gets out.
I sure hope so.
Oh, her dad.
So good.
Unprisoned?
Yeah,
Is that what
it's on Hulu,
called?
right?
Yeah. I think it's Unprisoned.
Yes, I think so.
Let me Google it now. Let me see if anything comes up.
I need to go back and finish.
Y'all just made me think of yet another streaming service that I have. So I have Apple TV.
Yeah.
Oh, if y'all have it, watch Hijack with Idris Elba. Oh, I watched all 3 episodes yesterday because I saw somebody post about it yesterday. I was like, I'm not doing nothing. Let me.
You saw Demetria post about it, didn't you?
No, actually, it was another person.
Okay.
On my timeline, but then I kept seeing people after I started watching. I kept seeing people like write about it on Twitter and stuff like that. I'm like, it's really good.
I turned off my Apple TV. I got to bring it back.
It's worth the $5.
I wanted to get Apple TV so I could watch Pachinko. Somebody was talking about it in another book group, and then when I was looking, I saw Idris Elba. I saw, oh, that's nothing but sleeves in to get it.
Yeah, it's really good. And then what's the other show? One of y'all put me on with Truth something. Yeah, that one. I need to. I'm like, I just got back because I forget about Apple TV. Like, I honestly, it's one of the last streaming service. So I literally just stopped watching it like 5 episodes in, and I'm like, I looked back at it yesterday. I'm like, let me finish watching this. It was actually pretty decent. So I haven't forget about Apple TV.
Season 1 and 2.
You said you've gotten through season 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then the third one they said was with Gabrielle Union. So
of what? What show?
Oh, I forgot about that.
What is it called?
Yes, I need to watch the current season.
Yeah.
Hijack.
I think Nyla put us onto that one. I need to go back.
I forget all about Apple TV until I see my damn bill, and I'm like, what did I get on Apple?
Yeah,
and I'm
like
did you get something on your iPad? And he was like, no.
Right, that little $4.99 be coming through every month. I'm like, speaking of stuff that I'm streaming and don't watch, here's yet another service that I have that I don't.
I even have All Black. I have like almost every streaming service. So I have YouTube TV because it's cheaper than Spectrum cable.
Y'all need to be reading
every
books.
Streaming service.
All these streaming services real
like what's on there? A House Divided, which is okay, but I kind of started watching it. I'm hoping it gets better, but I forget about it. There are a couple of little off shows that I kind of watched on there.
Yeah. So much TV. So this is why a little reading. I've actually done a good job of reading like this year. So I'm very proud of myself. But usually,
oh my gosh, my June was nice. 15 bucks.
You were killing it.
Good job.
You were killing it. Yeah.
That teacher life, home for the summer.
Man, listen, that's me. I'm like, okay, we finished softball 2 weeks ago. So now I'm like, although we have middle school ball now that I'm the head coach for, I'm like, but at least it's not as intense and we don't have games yet. So it's only practices during the week. But I'm like, I kind of have some time to myself. So we get ready to go on vacation Friday. So I've got like books lined up. I'm like, maybe because we're driving. So we're starting in Tampa. My son has a tournament there. Then we're going from Tampa to Miami to get on a 5-day cruise and then driving all the way back. So I'm hoping to get at least 2 books, maybe 3 done. So
you'll get credit for your Kindle even if you're not connected to the internet.
Good to know. Yeah, because I'm like, I'll have my Kindle with me, but I'm like freaked out because not having that connection and being on, I'm like, please count. Please count.
Yeah. I didn't have any sort of internet package and it didn't break my streak.
I'm worried about my Peloton streak too. I've got to figure that out because I'm like, even if it's a 5-minute meditation.
You just gotta meditate. Yeah, just download.
But I've gotta
I've
got it because I haven't gotten a Wi-Fi package, so I'm like, I need to figure out that, and I also need it because I plan on working out on the ship too. So I'm just like, I've got to figure this thing out.
You have an iPad?
I was gonna say, yeah, do it from your app.
Yeah, if you have an iPad that has like decent storage, just download a few on your iPad instead of your phone.
So when I looked at that on the iPad, well, maybe it's different because I haven't tried it on the iPad, but when I looked at like downloading it on my phone, it said that I had to have like even just a little bit of connection for it to start. So I wasn't sure if that would work.
I haven't tried.
I'll try it.
So.
Okay. I mean, I'll look into it. I'm probably going to end up like even just getting a package, even if it's like, 20 minutes or something, just so I can go on there and do a meditation. Because I was like, I have not broken my streak for like 2 years, I think.
Oh God, that's great.
You better figure it out. You'll be so depressed if you break your streak.
Right. Last time my mom, with the package she got, like it included 100 minutes or something like that. So I could at least like just hop on and do a 5-minute meditation real quick and then, log off or whatever. But I'm going to figure it out. Like, even if I have to pay for something, I'll figure it out.
As long as I keep my weekly streak, I'm good. I know I'm not going to maintain daily.
I know.
Weekly, I have not broken at all.
Yeah, same. I'm at 155 weeks when I looked at it this morning.
I'm like 180 something, I think.
That's awesome. I'm at 0. Yeah. I haven't touched I use the app and I have not touched it in months.
I love it. I love it. The new thing, the entertainment is clutch. I hope they put like some other streaming services like Netflix and stuff, because then it's going to be game on. If I can get on that bike and just watch like whatever I'm watching on Netflix. Prime has some stuff like Run the World I'm watching right now that I could just get on the bike for 30 minutes, but movies don't really interest me to like sit on a bike. But if they come up with like little Netflix shows and stuff that I'm sucked into, I gladly get on that bike.
So is it a split screen where you can still see the instructor as well as
so it's just like a just ride function. So there is no instructor. It's just like, I don't know if you've ever done like the scenic rides or whatever. It's just your movie on the screen, and then you have like the time that you've been riding for, and then all of your like your cadence and all of that is on the bottom. So it's just that around the movie. So it's just literally you just going at your own pace. And I tried it with the book this morning, and I had my Kindle book, and I was just tapping the screen, changing the pages and stuff, and I had the headphones on listening to the audiobook too. But it was pretty cool. I was like, this is cool that you can read and ride and watch TV and stuff. So, because people used to jailbreak their Pelotons to be able to watch TV on it, but I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that, because let my warranty, I need something, and then they tell me I can't use it because it's jailbroken. I'm like, nope. So this is helpful. Very, very helpful. Thanks, Talisha. I just saw your comment. Y'all saw the picture of me when I was in the bed, right? So I decided to like actually get out and comb my hair today. So I just like ran it under a faucet and just,
it looked full, like.
Yeah, it's still wet probably because I literally just put water in it. So
I don't know how y'all do that.
I'm gonna run my hair under a faucet and show y'all what it looked like
that for my birthday, because it was so hot I couldn't get it straight, and so but I ended up putting it like up like in a big puff.
Yeah.
And it tangles so bad. Like
mine does
the
too.
Detangling is so upsetting.
Yeah. No,
I'm like, how do people do this?
No, mine's the same, and I'm to the point where I want to at least cut it a little bit, like so that it's a little more manageable, because it's getting.
Remember them 4 inches you was crying about?
I know.
You're not going through that
long.
Again.
It is, but like it just
no, because you was wearing black dresses in the morning all day.
Seriously, I was upset.
Don't cut it.
But like when you only straighten your hair once a year and it's like this, most of the time it's like, this is for the birds, man. This is why like it stays in the top knot in a bun most of the time, because I hate detangling it. It's annoying.
That's why I have mycelial plaits now, because I finally, after 2 weeks, combed it out, and I'm like, never again. And that a lot of times that's why I do keep mine straight, because just the detangling is so frustrating.
If I get one of those Rev Airs, and I'm gonna try to convince my boyfriend to buy me one maybe for Christmas or something. If I can get that and straighten it, like I would have my hair straight all the time. But I just can't stand to like. I will not go through this by myself and straighten it. I can't. it would have to be professionally done. That's the only time. That's why you only see it straightened once a year, is because I'm not doing this. This is too much.
Yeah, it is work, but I've gotten mine down to 90 minutes because I use one of those old, like the blow dryers that are shaped like a comb. It's just a cheap Conair, but it gets my hair straight. So I can press with one pass.
Man,
but it took some work. And then I got one of those mirrors you see on TikTok, the 3-way mirrors you can hang on the door.
Yeah.
So I can see the back of my head. That makes a huge difference too.
I need something because I would love to be able to change it up, but I'm like, I can't. That's why I don't get braids or anything, because who wants to straighten this? Not me. I don't
And then
have
they're
time.
gonna charge you more. Like you go get braids and they see your hair and they're like, oh no, that's extra. I end up cussing folks out because they never want to braid my hair now. And I'm like, no, you're gonna still braid it and braid all the way to the end.
Yeah, that's what most of them have a fee. They're like, oh, if your hair is down, to the middle of your back, you're gonna be charged an extra, $20 for it. I'm like, it's some bullshit, bro.
I even saw some lady, she charges more for a silk press based on your length. When you book on her booking site, you have to check which length category you're in. And so mine was gonna go up like $15 over her base price.
That's I don't know if you've heard of Press Bar, but they do that based on your length. They charge you an upcharge for how long your hair is. And I'm like, that's that bull.
These hairstyles are getting over.
Everything is ridiculous in pricing right now.
Do they want you to wash your hair before you come? I've heard.
You talking about Press Bar?
You thing now.
Press Bar will wash the hair. That's the one place I can go to, and as long as I have it combed out, like they take care of everything. But like my braider, I have to have that straight and ready to go for her to at least blown out for her to. Bye, Bernadette. I just saw her post. In order to.
Man, I forgot to ask her what she was reading. We forgot to ask what they were reading before they left.
Yeah.
Well, I already talked about mine in the first 5 minutes of this chat, but S.A. Cosby, man. Erica, have you read S.A. Cosby?
No, but y'all got me wanting to. Like,
I feel like
amazing reviews.
I feel like because you like thrillers and stuff, like I think you would love him.
Yes.
I'm loving All Sinners Bleed or All the Sinners Bleed. That's what I'm reading right now. It's my second one by him, and I'm liking this more than Razorblade Tears. So I feel like you would probably like him.
Wait, you like him more than the dad, or like this one more than what were the dad's names?
I love Buddy.
Yeah, Buddy.
Buddy, yes. Oh wow, okay.
Because this, like, for me, I mean, there was twists and turns in that one where they were, on their mission to figure out what happened to their sons and stuff like that. But this has so much more happening. It's a black sheriff in a racist ass town, and there's murders happening. It starts off with a school shooting. I don't want to give too much away, but there's just twists and turns in trying to figure out who did this murder, and stuff just keeps popping up, and all these different elements and people, and it's just, you think it's one person. It's just it's more twists and turns than Razorblade Tears had for me.
Okay, I have the library loan for the audiobook and the ebook, so I'm gonna start.
That's me too. I'm on it right now. Yeah, I have both from Libby. But yeah, it's good.
I still haven't read the one Topeka said. What was it? The My Darkest Prayer.
Oh, no. That and I gotta read Blacktop Wasteland too.
I still need to read Blacktop Wasteland, but every book I've read of his has been great.
Amazing. Yeah.
And I usually will do the audio. At least I do the audio if I don't do the ebook along with it. Because Adam, oh God.
You gotta listen to Old Boy from Young and the Restless. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking
that's fleeing.
And it's funny because I can hear the dads in the other book in the reading, like when he does certain characters' voices, and I'm like, yo, if that ain't like the white guy or whatever, I can
with certain comments. It's just funny.
Yeah. What are the characters in Razorblade Tears again?
Buddy Lee, and I can't remember the other dad's name, but the white dad.
So like the other dad's voice is the main character in this one. Like his name is Titus, yeah. And so like that's him all day, but then there's some other characters in the story that I'm like, this is Buddy Lee all day. Like you can hear it.
I love it.
It's good. He does a good job in there.
Blacktop Wasteland was good too. But Razorblade.
Read them all.
I still have to read that one.
Yeah. I like thrillers are starting to become a thing. I saw y'all posting the Goodreads, or I mean the Kindle challenge. The Perfect Marriage. I saw some other people raving about that in another Facebook group. So I'm gonna read that one.
I think that's
that one's hit or miss. I noticed on Bookstagram, people really like it, or they say it's trash. Yeah, that's one where people are really divided. I noticed. I read something else by her.
I think that is dead.
Yeah, that was one of my first audiobooks when I first started doing my white on white crime last year. That was one of the first ones I listened to.
I enjoyed it. I felt like, oh, these white rich women. Like,
it was definitely entertaining.
Mm-hmm. And then The Housemaid. That's another one that people keep talking about. So I had that one already downloaded.
Crazy.
I like that one a lot. That was one of my favorites by her. That and her book Never Lie, I think is actually her best book. And I like to talk about it. But the twist at the end of that one was excellent.
Okay. Have you done Inmate, Erica?
I did it when it first was released. So I haven't read the second one though, because everybody on Bookstagram saying the second one's not that good. So I'm like, I guess I'm gonna read it.
Called.
I think it might be 2. Like, I don't think she changed the name, but a lot of people have complained that she basically took the exact same premise. So they're saying like, "Womp, we knew it was going to happen," because she didn't change the plot twist in the second one. It just came out though. It's only been out like maybe like 2 months, something like that.
Okay, because I only read Never Lie and The Inmate. And at first, Never Lie was like my favorite. Then when I read The Inmate, I was like, oh no, this lady's crazy as hell. And now I'm to The Perfect Son, but it's okay so far.
That one was just okay to me, The Perfect Son. I haven't done The Inmate. There was one she had, I remember, I thought it was stupid. Like, I was like, girl, were you just trying to fill a quota? I have to see what it's called. But I've read a handful of hers because they're on Kindle Unlimited. So that's why I typically read hers.
What do I want my next Colleen Hoover books to be?
I'm sorry.
I ain't reading no more Coho unless there's a challenge.
That last one wasn't that bad to me though. Reminders of him.
I loved it.
It was just very Caucasian. Who said it was very Caucasian? It wasn't bad. It was just very Caucasian.
I thought it was good, except I wanted to fight because of that taboo thing. But at the end, I was like, these bitches is making me cry. I got all choked up. I like 4 stars.
I like Coho's suspenseful stuff. Like the other 2 that are kind of like romancy, like I didn't like those as much, but her thrillers and suspense novel, like those to me, the suspense novels are more up my alley. Reminders of Him and Verity. I love Verity.
Yeah, Verity was my first because that other book group, everybody kept talking about it. I said, let me go find out what this book is about. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. But I read that like 2 years ago. I think I would reread it again at some point.
Yeah, Verity was very good.
Verity to me was just like,
Every time somebody brings up Verity in the chat, which people bring it up 50 million times in our group, I'm like, all right, y'all, use the search. I'd be like, Felicia's about to come and tell us, this is not the best one. I didn't even read the other one, but I'd be like, I heard this one is better.
And I think I have a couple more that I own by her. Like Layla is another one, but I don't know anything about them. I just kind of was like, oh, it's Coho, it's on sale, let me buy it.
I like that one. That's the one that a lot of people. Yeah, that's the one that I like. So me and my son, we like to listen to books together. And it was very slow in the beginning. And I think that's the part that throws people off because it's too slow in the beginning. But if you stick with it, my son was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
We enjoyed it.
Which one was that, Talisha?
Layla.
Okay.
Layla, I have Regretting You and Maybe Now and Maybe Someday. I haven't read and Maybe Not.
I have November in my Kindle, but I haven't read it yet.
I've seen that one a lot too. And then It Starts With Us.
I just read November 9. It's not too bad.
Okay. Oh, that's right. You were reading it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'll get
Heartbones, I guess, is a newer one because I got sent that by a publisher somewhere. She's got a lot of freaking books, man.
Yes.
She does, and her team is relentless. Whatever deal she got with Amazon, because every time they're gonna be like, read one of her books.
Yeah. But TikTok, when you walk into Target, she's like got a whole damn shelf practically to herself. I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah,
Speaking of Target,
a little bit overkill for me.
Summer stuff.
Say it again.
What'd you say?
Did you guys get any of Tabitha Brown's summer, like her plates and everything that they had out?
I did not.
I did.
I didn't even hear about it.
I bought my mom a bunch of stuff for Mother's Day, and then I bought some of the wine tumblers.
Those were cute.
Yeah, so me and my friends are going on vacation, so I bought those for us. You know, put our drinks in while we're on the beach.
Everything's on sale now.
I was mad about that.
There's this like pillow thing that she had. It's like a lounge kind of thing that it goes on the floor. It's like I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like a blanket. Like it looks like a sleeping bag with like a pillow attached to it. And I'm like, I'm waiting for that. It's dropped a little bit, but I'm waiting for it to go on sale more because I'm like, this would be perfect for Tenley to like lay on in softball in between games and just be under the tent and just. So I'm waiting for it to drop even more, but it hasn't. But it was like 60 something bucks, and I think it got down to 40. But I was like, nah, you got to come down to like 20 something, real quick. But yeah, like the coolers, everything is on sale. It's on clearance, $39. The towels that were $20 are now $6.
What?
Dinner plates are $1.20.
Wow.
Yeah, everything that she has is on clearance right now. So
they gotta move it out for the stuff that I'm sure she's coming out with in the fall.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna get it because I have like 6 Target gift cards. I need to
money. I never
those would have been spent.
Right.
I would be so mad if I bought that cooler. If I bought that cooler at $130, I would want to.
I'd be hot.
Well, let me put out a request for you Target ladies, because I keep seeing it on TikTok. I don't know where it is in the store, but there's a miniature vending machine like you would put on your desk and put candy in it. And I cannot find it online. If you see it, please, I'll pay shipping or whatever. I want this miniature vending machine so bad.
Is it in the front section?
It's in the front section.
I think it is, but I never go to Target. Like never.
Ever.
It's in that like
I need to be
little $2, $3.
I feel bad. That'll make me run in there tomorrow.
I think people like snatch them up fast, but I do think that's where it's at. And I have a friend who used to work at one of her sister stores, and I'm like, if you see it, mail it to me. She was like, what you gonna put in it? That's not the point. If I put Skittles or whatever, that's my business.
Just give it to me, damn it.
But you know, me and my minis, but I don't want to, it's too big for my dollhouse. I just want to put it on my desk.
I'm gonna go tomorrow. Maybe if I can get in there before the housewives get out.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I think it is in that section, that front section, that little $2, $3, $4 section up there. It's in the very front when you first come in. I think that's where they got them based on that Black Girls.
I think they said it was like
group.
$5 or something.
Oh yeah, it's in the front.
And so I was like, well, let me see if I can find it online, but I couldn't find it.
Yeah, it's in the front section. If I see one, I'll grab it if I happen to get in there.
So. Thank you so much.
No problem.
I don't leave the house often.
I try not to, but
tonight.
Huh?
I said we're so glad to see you tonight.
I know. I think, is this the first time you've joined a chat?
Since it's been on Zoom.
Okay.
I told you I made it through a whole pandemic and never went on Zoom. That's why
I was like,
I don't Zoom. But you know, I used to be, because my commitment was when you first started the group, I said I'll commit to read the first 12 months worth of books. Whatever the book was, even when I hated them, I did it.
Yeah.
Then after that, I would either read it at a different time than y'all, or I just didn't read it at all. And I'm like, so what am I going to say?
Right.
So then when y'all were like, well, come anyway, I was sitting here and I was like, oh, I'm going to log on. I actually had planned to be on time. Started talking to my mother, and then I couldn't, it like kept kicking me out. Yeah,
those earlier chat days, I hardly remember them before. Like, I don't remember pre-pandemic, but like the pandemic was the best thing to ever happen to move to Zoom, because talking to myself on a live was the hardest thing, trying to fill an hour's time. Like reading comments.
One of them, you jumped me in. Like there's one that always comes up in my tags. I don't even know what book we were talking about. And so people were like, all these random people on my friends list were commenting, and I'm like, how did they know to come to the book chat? But you like tagged me somehow, so it like was streaming from my page too.
Oh,
it was one of the early books.
Yeah.
I was like, how did I get in this?
I pulled you
and then
in.
you would be talking to yourself on Facebook and Insta because you'd be
Twitter,
using two different devices. I was
Yep.
like, oh, this is wow. But yeah, I did used to join those because the first 12 books I did read.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
I
would
read almost all the books. I just read them at different times than y'all.
I would stream to Facebook and then stream to Instagram at the same time using my work phone and my personal phone, and just it was a lot, but like sitting there trying to talk to yourself. And then close to when the pandemic hit, I started doing authors, like getting the authors to come on to the lives and stuff when they started allowing people to come on there. So it started to change, but then I was like, oh, this Zoom is awesome. Like being able to just hold conversations and not have to talk the whole time is the best thing that ever happened. So
yeah,
it's become our thing.
Like through the pandemic, my girlfriends, like my daily group chat, none of us are in this. Well, one is also in Atlanta, but pretty much we're all in different cities. We do happy hour like this, but we do it on, we all have iPhones. So we just do a FaceTime because we tried Zoom and it did that 30-minute thing and kicked us off. But we do it like just when we need to vent and have girl talk, we do it like this, and everybody brings a drink. One of my friends, she had a baby last year, and she did a gender reveal for us through it. Like we do everything on the chat together.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, it's like there's definitely some good that has come out of the pandemic for sure. Zoom is one of them. My boss sent me an email, or all of us an email today, and was like, yeah, you guys are gonna have to start coming in one day a week. I was like, stop it. Stop it. But I mean, it's okay. I mean, one day, I can't complain. It's one day a week. Like, I still get to telework majority of the week. It sucks, but I'm like, you know what? Not even gonna complain because I'm thankful to be able to just have been at home for 3 years and, not do nothing. But now if they start creeping up and saying, okay, now you got to come in 2 days and 3 days, I'm like, bro, can't do that.
My friend works, her job has to do 3. They make her do 3 days, and she hates it because she was work from home prior to the pandemic. She worked from home for like 10 years.
Oh, that's
and she got laid off like right before the pandemic, got this job. But then the pandemic hit, so she never had to go in face to face. Once she got hired, they're like, oh, you could work from home. So after like 10, 11 years, they're now like, oh, you know what? We want our people in the office 3 days a week. And then last week, they changed it. So whatever plan she's supporting, she's helping people on the West Coast and overseas. So she's now having to stay up overnight to make her calls, like do conference calls, but still get up and go in the office in the morning. Absolutely. To do her other work. I was like, they're treating you like crap, girl.
Wow.
I have to do 3 days a week, but on my 3rd day, I go in the morning and I leave at lunch because I'm like, listen, you said 3 and I did. I didn't say I was staying the whole day.
Right.
I swiped that badge in the building.
I'm accounted for. That's all that matters.
I take my behind home at lunchtime every Thursday.
That's hilarious. And that's usually what I do.
Created 2 years ago, and he created it to be permanently remote. So we don't have any sort of office space or anything.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's, once a week I can deal with that, which sometimes I have to come in there anyways to do credit card stuff or just whatever. So, I average coming in there about once a month anyways, but I'm like, every week, I'm like, I'll let you know what days. And she's flexible too. She's like, just mark it on your calendar. You don't have to have a consistent day, but
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So if I want to come in this day, whatever, but I figure most of my days will probably be like Wednesdays because, they don't have 2 days in the front and 2 days in the back that I just kind of chill at home and do whatever. So yeah.
How far is your commute?
It's about 35, sometimes 40 minutes. I'm in Tucker, so I'm coming from Lawrenceville and Gwinnett and then to Tucker. So it's not that bad because I'm not sitting in Atlanta traffic. Like I can take, back roads down 78 and stuff like that. So it's not that bad. Not too, it could be worse, I should say, my commute. But again, more opportunity to listen to audiobooks.
Yeah, my commute used to really suck because, you know, I live in Stone Mountain, but I worked in Sandy Springs. It wouldn't be bad in the morning, but coming home, there was sometimes like we would always have to stop and get a snack, go to the bathroom. Sometimes it would take us 2.5 hours to get home.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah,
mine's
used to
taken more than
suck.
probably 50 minutes, even with traffic at, you know, coming home during rush hour. So yeah.
It's crazy.
Wow. Yep. Well, ladies, been on here for an hour and 20 minutes. I appreciate your time. It's always fun.
Always.
I know I kind of asked y'all about this, how Stella, you know, our next read is this month's book, How Stella Got Her Groove Back. I know we talked about doing a watch party for that. So if y'all still want to do that, let me know. I can't remember the dates though. I threw out that is long gone in the chat. I threw out some dates and I'm like, I don't even know what I said or what everybody, I think it was
the 28th on my calendar.
The 28th, right? That was the one where most people were, gosh, I can't do the 28th now. There's something on my calendar. We'll figure it out. Yeah, I just added an event to my calendar for that night. So I'll poll and figure it out. Because it would be nice to watch that. How do you guys feel about doing it like during the week? Would that be too much? Because I'm thinking like if we did some chat about the book on that Wednesday of book club and then maybe watched it afterwards, but I know a lot of people are starting school and stuff like that, so I don't want to be. We can talk about it in the chat, no problem. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah, I prefer a Friday, but you know I don't like to miss out on shit, so I'll figure out a way.
I can do.
She's like, I'll make it work.
No, I think I can do Friday, but it probably is gonna have to be like the 4th now, which is the first week of school. So that will probably be maybe what I do. It'll just be after the book chat. I was trying to do it before, but maybe I'll just do it on the 4th, and I'll connect with y'all and see if that still works for most everyone. We'll find a day.
Or at least the important people.
Yeah.
Alicia.
Right. Hot mess. All right, y'all. I will see y'all later.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.